Olá pessoal, sejam bem-vindos a mais um vídeo aqui no canal. Esse vídeo vai ser um pouquinho diferente. Eu trouxe para vocês uma entrevista com a Amanda, que é a minha professora de inglês aqui em Pittsburgh. Ela compartilhou várias dicas, ela compartilhou a visão dela sobre essa cidade e também várias dicas de inglês, claro, como a gente pode melhorar o nosso inglês, como a gente pode ser fluente no inglês. Espero que vocês gostem da entrevista com a Amanda. Deixem nos seus comentários perguntas para Amanda, que quem sabe no futuro a gente pode ter mais um vídeo com a Amanda respondendo as perguntas de vocês. Deixem o like no vídeo, se inscrevam no canal e ativem o sininho. Fiquem com a entrevista da Amanda, espero que vocês gostem.
So, hello, Amanda. Thank you so much for having us today.
Hello, Josie. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So, welcome to Pittsland, our YouTube channel, right? And we have some students here, and I think they're very excited to hear some advice from you, right? So, Amanda, do you want to introduce yourself first?
So, my name is Amanda, and I am an English teacher here in the United States. I work for an organization called Literacy Pittsburgh, where we work with different native and non-native English speakers to help them improve their reading skills, help them with job skills in their careers. So, it's a very rewarding profession.
Yeah, very, very, very nice initiative. And for those that don't know, Amanda is my English teacher, and she's the best here in America, in US, I can say, right?
Well, thank you,
um,
Josie. You're too kind.
oh no, you are, you know that. So, Amanda, I think my first question for you will be, as an American born in Pittsburgh, right? So, what is your perspective about the city? So, what's your view?
Well, I was born in Pittsburgh. I grew up outside of Pittsburgh in a suburb of Pittsburgh. So I think I have maybe a biased position about the city because it's my home. I love it. I've moved away for a period of time, but I've recently had an opportunity to move back. Pittsburgh is a wonderful American city. The people in Pittsburgh are genuinely very, very friendly and kind, um, hardworking. A lot of the people have a very strong work ethic. And the city is, for a smaller sized American city, there's a lot of great things about living in Pittsburgh. The cost of living is relatively inexpensive. The housing market, you can get houses for pretty cheap here. Also, there's great museums, there's great sports teams, people are, lots of festivals and things to do. So Pittsburgh really is a unique place, and it's a great American city.
Yeah, I can say I really like the city, and they are very friendly, right? So I feel that when I'm like walking down the street, everybody say hello, hi, how you doing? That's very nice, very kind. Yeah. Okay, so I think my second question for you will be, uh, so most of the people in Brazil, I can say most of them, they have a very hard time to start learning English when they are little, right? It's very expensive, and sometimes you don't have the opportunity to start this pretty soon. So normally, we intend to start learning something new like Spanish or English or any other language after our 20s, right? So what is, and it can be very hard. Yeah, you're already adult. You have, all your knowledge done. Let's say it that way. So what is your advice for those people that want to start learning English right now? And we know it's going to be very hard, but how we can make that easier?
Well, I think there's a few things that are important for people to remember who are trying to learn not only English, but any language as an adult. My master's degree was in linguistics, which is the scientific study of languages. And one of the things that we had to study in my graduate school program was about language acquisition and how people learn languages. And we have what is called the critical period, which is up until people are about maybe 12, 13, 14 years old. You learn a new language differently than when you learn it after that age. When you're younger, you can almost acquire another language where you hear people speaking and you internally kind of know what grammar rules to apply to it, and out comes the language. You know, you don't really have to have someone tell you, now English is a subject, verb, object language. However, when you get to that critical period and you start learning a language after that, you have to learn it more like you would learn any other subject. You
Right.
just like you would study psychology or chemistry and you have to memorize things, you kind of have to take that approach to learning a language. So I often have a lot of students who tell me they're embarrassed because they feel like they have an accent. Well, everybody has an accent. And again, that's something that if you're learning the language after the age of like 13, you're going to speak another language because it's influenced by your native language. It's only those people who seem to learn a language when they're small children that are able to speak and don't sound like they have any accent. So don't let that embarrass you or discourage you or frustrate you. My advice again would be to just make sure that you treat it just like any other subject. If it's truly something that you want to learn, you need to be disciplined and you need to make sure that you're spending the time working on improving that skill. And I think, you know, one of the great things is that we live in a day and age where technology is making this a lot easier. There's lots of great apps that you can download to help you with language learning. You have access to schools that you never had before, especially after 2020,
Right.
because people are so much more comfortable doing things online. So I would just say if it's something you truly want, just make sure that you're dedicating enough time in your schedule and you can do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's very nice. It reminds me something that you told us last time and the other day during the class, and it was very like strong for me. You said everybody has an accent because it shows where you're coming from, right? It's part of who you are. It's very nice. It was very like strong for me. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's part of our history, right? Let's say that way.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I have an accent too. Pittsburgh has definitely a very unique accent, the way that people speak here. So your accent is just part of your identity, like you said.
Yeah,
It's who you are, and you're always going to carry it with you.
of
And
course.
it's something that you should be proud of. It's not something that you should be ashamed or embarrassed by.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I think my last question for you will be, so in Brazil we speak Portuguese, and our neighbor countries, let's say that way, they speak Spanish, right? And everything is so expensive. You want to travel, tickets, and everything is so expensive. You know that. So what is your advice if I want to improve my English? And of course, we have all these apps, and the technology helps a lot. But with someone that doesn't have the opportunity, doesn't have the assets to fly out Brazil, um, do you think it's that possible be fluent? And if we don't have this experience to live outside Brazil?
Well, I think the best way, like you said, you definitely have an advantage living in a culture or country where they speak the language. I know I also, in addition to English, I speak Spanish, and I had an opportunity to live in Spain. And I felt like years of studying Spanish in school until I really lived in a country and lived with a family where I had to speak Spanish or else they wouldn't understand me because they didn't speak any English. Uh, it was definitely something that did help my language improve tremendously. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible for you to, never become fluent just because you don't have the resources to live in another country. Um, I can't think of any sites specifically, but if you do an internet search, um, I have in the past have been part of different conversation group programs or conversation partner programs where, for example, when I got back to the United States after living in Spain, I was in a program where I was paired up with a woman from Venezuela, and she and I would meet once a week for coffee. She became a friend, but it was a great way for me to practice my Spanish and keep up with it, and her to keep practicing her English since she had just moved to the United States with her husband for his graduate school work. So there are different programs out there that you can take advantage of. There are also, they call them, in Spanish, we call them intercambios. So I don't know if there's really a name for it in English, but,
Yeah. Is it
basically just
same
same
in
in
Portuguese?
Portuguese.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, just a conversation partner. So the thing is that you have to force yourself to practice it and force yourself to use it. I think if you can find someone in your household that is willing to try to learn English with you,
Oh,
and maybe you can force yourselves to speak only in English to each other, even though it might be really, really hard and you really, really want to use Portuguese. But trying to find ways in your daily schedule where you can use English. And again, with the internet, not just language learning apps, but we also have podcasts that you're available to download. Just listening to things in English, watching movies in English on Netflix or other streaming services. There's a lot of media out there that you can consume and just give you an opportunity to not only expose yourself to more English, reading books in English, but the more you use it, the more comfortable you will be with it. So again, it makes it a little bit more challenging if you're not living in a country where you have the opportunity to speak English. But if you work hard, you can find some creative ways to get some English practice into your daily routine.
That's good to know. It makes sense. Makes total sense to me. Yeah. You need to push yourself to try, practice every single day, just a little, but yeah, do something every single day, right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, Amanda. So thank you so much for your advice. It was very nice chat to you today. And again, thank you for having us, dedicate your time. And that's all that we need from you for now, okay? But thank you so much for that. And see you next time.
It was my pleasure. Obrigado, everyone.
Oh, that's amazing. I can say welcome for you. De nada. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Amanda. Bye.
Bye.